Okay, folks, Andrew Bopros here. Well, I'm going to do an interesting video talking about the June 1st deadline and why that number matters and what free agents we could go after. There's quite a few out there that I still think the Chargers could go after and get. I know we talked about Tony Jefferson. Clearly, he's going to be coming in. And, we'll see. There's even other safeties that are out there as well, too. But again, I cannot say enough about these two gentlemen right here getting this team where we're at this moment, right? And again, remember, Joe Ortiz walked into a locker room. We were $30 million over the cap. Now we are currently $26 million under the cap. So he's done a great job. And again, I still think there's a lot going on. That's what we want to talk about today. I think there's some other players we could go after. So guys, as always, Andrew Bopros, let's get in.
Bull Bros.
Okay, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew Bopros. But again, these guys have done a great job. I mean, clearly they're doing a good job of getting this team moving the right direction. The culture is moving the right direction. But why June 1st, right? Again, free agents are going to be more available at this time. And Joe Ortiz has specifically talked about this. That he's going to be consistently be trying to get the best possible players on this team as possible. And again, when you start saying 53-man roster, you want the best 53 players you can get on this team, right? So I think they're constantly going to keep trying to go get more players over and over again. And then whoever gets cut, they're going to look at those people that are cut, and they're going to consistently try to look at the best players to bring in. Also good cultural fits. That's one of the things about Jim Harbaugh that I really like. He clearly wants a very specific type of player. If you had any problems in the past, you're probably not going to play for the Chargers. So just remember that moving forward. I really don't believe Jim Harbaugh is going to mess around with some bad cultural fits or some player that wants the ball, over anybody else, right? What does he say? What's good for the bee is good for the hive. I truly believe he cares about that a lot. I mean, even look at the people that he hired, right? He hired people that he knew on his staff. So a lot to be said about that, folks. Okay, but why June 1st? Okay, this is exactly why. When a player is cut post June 1st designation, it allows the team to spread out the dead cap over into the next 2 seasons. So it's big, right? So if you have a huge dead cap and you want to let a player go prior to the draft, and you're like, okay, well, we picked your successor. We don't, we can't afford you anymore. This is an opportunity to spread that money around, right? But the player's contract remains on the books until June 2nd of the year they are cut. So keep in mind, it does mean that they're just moving dollars around, right? You still have to pay the player the same amount, but you can, hit the dead cap over the next 2 seasons, which I think is pretty interesting, right? So again, it's in a way, you say that, the salary cap is what it is, but you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. So just keep that in mind. But I got some players on my list that I think are available still that I still think the Chargers could bring in. We'll see what happens. I would say next week, I'll probably do my UFL video also, where I'll talk about some UFL players I think we might potentially go after. Maybe not us specifically, but maybe just the NFL in general also. But this is an interesting list. I think there's a lot of talent here that we could go after. And with the money we have available, I think we can get them fairly cheap. So before I do that, I want to do an update real quick. This is the 3rd week of OTAs. Junior, everyone keeps asking about him. Everyone keeps asking, what's going on with Junior? What's going on with Junior? He's fine. Apparently he's okay. He's been working out in practice. He's good. He was off to the side last week. This week, he is 100% good to go from what I am seeing right now, at least what's been reported on Twitter and some of the other folks out there like Daniel Popper and some of the other reporters that are actually at OTAs at the moment, right? So anyway, just want you to know Junior Colson seems to be fine. Clearly wasn't a serious injury. Probably that's why they didn't report it. They just probably took him out for precautionary reasons. Okay, so let's get on to the list. One of the guys that I really like on this list is Hunter Renfrow. The thing about Hunter Renfrow is Hunter is I think a very good wide receiver. I kind of view him the same as Ladd McConkey, right? Just good route running ability, excellent footwork, but he's had some injury issues, right? And again, I do think you could probably buy a cell phone from him as well, right? He does look like a guy that sells cell phones for T-Mobile or AT&T, right? But again, last season the injury bug hit him pretty hard, right? But when he's active, he's a great slot receiver. That. I know the NFL knows that, right? And he's a proven, fairly reliable catcher. He's almost 75% catch rate for his career. good depth piece, and you could probably get him really cheap. I mean, he's been sitting out a long time. The injuries, he's getting a little older. Again, the thing that I will say, why am I even bringing this list up? The whole point of this list is that, bottom line, we're trying to find the best 53 men to put on the field. And this guy, you have to ask yourself this question: is Hunter Renfrow better than Brendan Rice, or maybe, some of the other wide receivers we have on our team, Fehoko? And again, I'd probably say yeah, because he's a veteran, he knows what he's doing. Again, his injury issues are a bit of an issue, but at the end of the day, you want to bring in depth, and that's a big part of it, right? So again, Hunter Renfrow is available. I like it. You can sign him cheap. We'll see what happens. Who knows? We'll go from there. Another one is Michael Thomas. Again, he was viewed as at one point one of the top route running starters in the wide receiver room. Like, everyone thought he was the guy, the man, the dude. Never quite really lived up to his expectations, right? Only played 20 games last 4 seasons. He's a lot like a Mike Williams type of guy, right? He's had his injuries. When he's on the field, he's spectacular, but then he just struggles, right? Again, he was fairly healthy in 2023. He had some decent numbers, but he's available. I do think he would not be a bad depth signing. I have a hard time seeing us sign a wide receiver just because we have, people like Brendan Rice. We have a pretty deep wide receiver room at the moment. I would say that I think, but you never know, right? You can maybe get this guy pretty cheap. We'll see what happens. But again, Michael Thomas is available. He's a big guy, big target, and Chargers like big guys, right? We'll see what happens. So Mike Thomas is another one. Another guy that I think is interesting is this gentleman from Washington, tight end. Again, he's mid-30s, Logan Thomas. Again, mid-30s, not really looking to get a long-term contract, right? He's kind of on the latter end of his career, most likely. What I see, he's not like the best blocker also, but he's fairly productive in the tight end room as well. So you have to ask yourself this question: would he be a good fit for the team? I don't really know. I would say probably not, because at the end of the day, I think someone like a Zach Hines, a younger player, bigger blocker, bigger body, I think he probably could be there, and again, he's a lot younger. We already got him signed, and you can get him very cheap, probably cheaper than you have to pay for Logan Thomas. And again, when you think about these players, so you have to always ask yourself this question: is this guy better than Zach Hines, right? Is this guy better than Stone Smart, right? And if the answer is no, then why would you go get him, right? So again, when you think about some of these players you're going after, right, you have to have that in context. I'm going to talk more about the safety room here in a second, because that is going to become very important. But again, Logan Thomas could be somebody that's out there. We'll see. I think he's probably a long shot, but you never know. This one I like, right? Our boy Xavien Howard, cornerback from Miami. Again, he's great. This guy's a freaking ball hawk, man. Again, he's 30 years old, though. You got to remember, he's getting older. And our cornerback room is probably the least built out room, along with the safety room. So there's a few people on this list that I think really could come on this team, right? I think we're going to get to the meat of the conversation, and you let me know what you guys think. Who do you think is the best on this list? But again, Xavien Howard, I really like. It's a volatile position. A lot of players in and out, right? And again, Howard still has ball hawking resume. He's had 29 career interceptions, right? So that's really good. And he's had at least 12 pass breakups in 4 straight seasons, right? So he's very prolific. You could get him very cheap, right? So I'm curious to see why he hasn't been signed. Maybe he's considering retirement. Maybe he wants a lot of money. I don't quite know. But Xavien Howard is still available. So I'm very curious to see what happens with him moving forward. Another guy, Stephon Gilmore. We've already talked about Stephon Gilmore. He's still available. I'm a little shocked, but again, he's 33, right? He's missed some time from 2021 or 2020 and 2021. Again, he was a huge star with the Patriots. And again, a lot of people even think that he might've been the reason why, JC Jackson even had good years, with the Patriots, right? Stephon Gilmore did a great job on the opposite side of the field. So I don't know, I like Stephon Gilmore. I like Xavien Howard as well, too. I think all those guys could step in and be a very good depth piece. And again, remember, guys, we have Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton has lack of a better term, not really performed well in the NFL. And it's not necessarily his fault. To some degree, it's also the system that he's in. It sounds like he had a hard time in Tennessee, did not work out for him in a lot of ways. He said very politically that it didn't work out. But again, you bring a guy like this, a veteran in, he could also help someone like Christian Fulton get better and improve. And also maybe even, Asante Samuel Jr., who's already starting to show signs of flashes of greatness. And again, the OTAs are happening right now. I'm sure we're probably, at the time of recording, they're happening right now. And, there's going to be a lot to be said about, our cornerback room. I do still feel like that room needs to be built out. But, he did show signs of flash shutdown qualities for the Dallas Cowboys. And he's got 150 plus career starts under his belt. The guy's been around. He's a journeyman, done a great job. Another guy that I think is could be an opportunity is Dory Jackson. Again, injury bug. Christian Fulton's also had injuries as well too. His injuries have prevented Jackson from playing a full season since 2018. He's a good starter. Good cover man when he was in the lineup, but man, he just couldn't stay healthy, right? And it's a big part of the NFL too. You got to stay healthy. He does have also return experience from early on in his career. I think a lot of people think he might be some sort of special teams type player, and depth in the cornerback room as well too. So we'll see what happens. But Dory Jackson is also available. I would say he's my least exciting of all of the three that I've talked about as far as the cornerbacks are concerned. But again, he would be a depth piece, option for us moving forward. Now, again, I've already talked about Justin Simmons. I think Justin Simmons is great. He's a free safety. Now, depends on what we do with our boy that we're already talking about. Tony Jefferson. If we get him, then clearly we're probably not going to go after Justin Simmons. I'm assuming Justin Simmons wants a lot of money. I do think he wants a lot of cash, and if that's the case, I don't think the Chargers are going to go out for someone like that. I really don't feel like we're going to spend a ton of money in this position, right? So we'll see. But again, he's one of the steadiest secondary roamers, during the Broncos. He's done a great job. I mean, you cannot deny his production. 30 career picks, 60 plus pass deflections. But the big question is whether he can stay, healthy, and he can hit a top speed going on 31 years old. So he's a little older. So I think right now he's probably realizing, hey, look, age does matter. And he's struggling to, maybe get some people that want to, scoop him up, right? He's probably asking a lot of money, and, we'll see what happens. But again, Justin Simmons is available. By the way, I would love him. I would rather have him over Tony any day of the week, Tony Jefferson. But, Tony Jefferson would be very cheap. That would be the other option, right? He's very inexpensive. Justin Simmons would be a little more costly. So you have to ask yourself this question: would you rather have the cheaper option or the most expensive option? Justin Simmons would be my guy, 100%. Another guy right here, Quandre Diggs, who I always liked him. I always thought he was great. Another strong safety. Look, I like Quandre. I think he's been very productive, but the Seahawks had a pretty bad secondary last year. And so, Jamal Adams was there as well. I think Quandre, a lot of people are probably looking at him saying, he's getting a little older, yada, yada. I don't know about this guy. But, again, he's very durable and very reliable, right? So he's a very reliable, strong safety. To me, this would be a very inexpensive option. If you were going to go out for someone like a Justin Jefferson, I would say, Justin Simmons, Justin Jefferson. Quandre Diggs would be a very inexpensive option compared to Justin Jefferson. I think you'd get less value for him. But I think he'd be great, right? I think A.J. Finley is probably the guy in that spot. But then again, you got Akeem Dent, who in the undrafted free agent room, I think is very good. I think he has a very good upside. So we'll see what happens with that as well, too. Again, we're not hearing a whole lot coming from him as far as camp is concerned. OTAs are very different compared to camp. But, again, he's been good. He's been very reliable. And again, Quandre Diggs not missing a single game from corner from 2020 to 2023. So, reliable, fairly cheap option. I'd say, man, he's worth a look at least. So we'll see what happens with that. And again, guys, I think this is kind of the best list here as well too. And this is Leatherwood here also. Again, I just want to say this. Leatherwood's a great example of where this team is going. We're always going to constantly continue to add more depth. This is a no-brainer to bring into camp. Again, Leatherwood was cheap. it's a tryout. This is a job interview for that guy, right? And it's the same thing with these other guys as well. You don't probably have to sign them for a super long contract. You can get a 1-year contract, sign them, very conditional on making the 53-man squad. You don't make the squad, great. Sorry, the rookie beat you out. You're done. We'll let you go. You lose nothing by having them come into camp. So again, I just think that there's a lot of interesting ways that this team can be built out. But again, bottom line, I truly believe that Harbaugh and also Joe Ortiz are going to try to just get the best 53-man roster possible and the best practice squad possible. They're consistently going to continue looking at people to bring in, get them in the system. Do they work out? Do they not work out? Are they understanding it? Are they not understanding it? Where are we at with these guys? So a lot to be said. Who on this list do you like the most? I mean, do you even like the Alex Leatherwood signing? Do you think it's a good signing? Do you think it's a bad signing? Do you think it was a waste of time, a waste of money, all the above? What do you guys think? As always, Andrew Bopros. See you guys in the next one.